Feel that makes you walk the walk. Here comes Sunday morning, palms up in praise. Yeah, it's all about my mama naming house raised. Get your state of mind no matter where you're from. Living like your grandma does. Cause good home training ain't a common thing. Now, if this is who you are, let me hear you say, oh, you don't have to be a Georgia peach from Savannah Beach to sing, from Arkansas to appreciate a Southern draw. Don't need no key from West Virginia to have it in ya. Show the world you're a country girl.
Greg Dunmore from PulseBeat.tv in the house.
Now, I played that. That was Rizzy Palmer, and that was her singing Country Girl. I said, what could we talk about in entertainment that would have a different twist to it? And I got a flashback when I had mentioned a show that came here at the Fisher, and I talked about Johnny Cash, and you said, hold it, now don't talk about Johnny Cash, because I like me some Johnny Cash. And I said, well, no, I'm not going to hate on Johnny Cash because I like him too. And I thought about country and Western music, and you like it, I like it. I don't like all of it, but I like some of it. And I thought when we think in terms of country and Western music, we don't talk about the black females. Women's History Month.
That's right.
Who have made some inroads in country and Western music. When I talked about, this was 2 weeks ago, and I talked about white stars that adopt black children. And then I talked about black stars that have adopted white children, which is very rarely talked about. So we're going to talk about some black female country and Western stars, entertainers.
And so what you're doing is introducing
We're going to introduce you.
Yeah,
that was Rizzy Palmer. She's age 30, and she hit the charts with this song, Country Girl, which is very rare. I don't think too many people really know her unless you have listened to country and Western music. Now, there's a group that we know a lot about, and I want to play something that they did that was historical.
I didn't hear nothing. Did you?
The Pointer Sisters.
Y'all like country music? That's what I want to hear. I tell you, I like country music. We all like country music, don't we, girls? We from the country. Yeah. So we wrote ourselves this little country song. Now I want you all to sit back and relax and just listen to our little country tune. I'll pack up all my things and walk away. I don't want to hear another word you have to say. I've been waiting for so long and just found out there's something wrong. Nothing will get better if I stay.
Talk to me.
That was Fairy Tales. And the thing I thought was fascinating by the Pointer Sisters, and that song was actually written by Anita and Bonnie of the legendary Pointer Sisters. They wrote this song, and we think of the Pointer Sisters as R&B pop, but most people don't realize that their very first Grammy Award came in 1975, and the Pointer Sisters' very first Grammy Award was not in pop, it wasn't in R&B, it wasn't in soul, it was in country and Western music with this song, Fairy Tales.
Are you serious?
In 1975, they won the best Grammy for a group or duel with this song, Fairy Tales. And most people don't realize that they charted, and that was very seldom done. So if you ask most people, name me a black female or a black female group that has done anything in the country and Western scene, very few people would probably mention the Pointer Sisters because they're not aware of that, and they did something that was historical. And their very first Grammy was in the country and Western field, and their second nomination which was Live Your Life Before You Die, which was also in the category of Best Country Vocal Performance by a Duo or Group, was in 1976. So their second Grammy nomination was also in the country and western arena.
That's incredible.
Incredible.
Now, nobody in town knew that but you.
I don't think a lot of people know that.
Nobody knew that. That's incredible.
Yeah, and that says too when we talk about, and this year it said Women's History Month is about women's education and women's empowerment. And when you talk about doing something and it's not necessarily traditionally done, and then you do it and do it better than anybody else, that really is a statement in terms of achievement. So when we talk about women, and we're going to talk about black women in this case, going into an area that they were told that there's not an audience for you, maybe you don't have the feel for this kind of music, and they said, forget that, I'm going to do it anyway. They did it. They charted, won the coveted Grammy Award in an area that they were told that they would not potentially achieve the success that they did. So that tells anybody, let these women be an example of, don't be afraid to go there, because if you in your heart know you have what it takes to go there, and maybe you too can not only define or defy the odds, but you can define the fact that I'm setting the standard in which you potentially may reach one day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, there's another person that you've never probably heard about, and her name is Ruby Falls, and she had 9 country hits starting in 1975. Let's hear a little bit of Ruby Falls singing sweet country music.
Got that sweet country music in my heart. Nothing's gonna tear us apart.
Ruby Falls singing sweet country music. Now that's a name really I didn't know that much about her myself. And when I did the research, I said, now here's a lady who charted. She had 9 hits from 1974 to 1979. And she is most definitely a black woman singing that sweet country music, as was the name of that song. So once again, she's an unsung hero in country and western music that we should know the name. So that was Ruby Falls. Now there's another name. Her name is Linda Martell, and we're going to hear something from her from the classic show Hee Haw, and she was the very first African American female to be part of the Grand Ole Opry.
Linda Martell.
Living and working in the city, I thought I was a big girl. Oh, I felt so smart, and my own life I was true. So Miss Smarty found herself a city boy who one night said he loved her, and the next night it leaves her sitting with a bad case of the blues.
That is Linda Martell, and that was a song that she sung on the classic Hee Haw, and one of the few, if probably the only African American female to be on that particular show. And she was also the first African American woman to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. Linda Martell, another unsung hero in the world of country and western music.
Now, for most black people, Charlie Pride is the only name they know.
That's the only name they know.
The only name they know
but
in country
music. But these are names
music
that we're going to talk about, and that we're talking about to let folk know that there are some sisters, some singing sisters.
The Pointer Sisters have just taken me out of the game today. I want you to know that.
They did it too. Now, there's a name that is a hot name. I got a call from Dallas from my friend Curtis King from the Black Academy of Arts and Letters. He told me that there is an artist performing in my theater right now. The theater is sold out. This young lady is 19 years old, that she is being positioned to be a major star in the world of country and western music he said that the audience was probably maybe 75 to 80% white, and they were listening to this next singer. Her name is Imaj, and her father is a very famous man. We're going to hear a little bit of her, and then we're going to tell you who the daddy is.
Brightest day I'd ever seen. Roses pale compared to me. My heart lingered in his touch when his eyes made me blush. He wore those boots, I wore that dress. I tried not to seem impressed. He held me close, I felt a rush, and his voice made me blush. He colors me the perfect shade. He knows just what he does. His voice will always charm in ways. He always makes me proud.
That was Imaj, and she's being positioned to be a big star, I was told, in the country and western world. But her daddy's famous. And Mildred, you know I like my guessing games now.
Now, why do you want to do that to me on this Friday? Do you know what kind of week I've had? Do you know what's happened with my brain
I
this
know
week?
it's been hot. Okay, you know what?
And it's not over either.
Now, Mildred, but you're spiritual, because I threw one name out. I think it might have been Della Reese, and you got it in the first guess. The daddy is very famous. He was a big star on television some years ago, and he's got a lot of kids. Who's the daddy? He's got about 13 kids. Maybe 11, 12 kids.
He supported them all.
I hope so. I hope so.
He has like 11. He's black.
He's black.
11, 12, 13
And he was a major
kids.
star on television a few years back. He had a television show.
Well, Bill Cosby doesn't have 11, 12, 13 kids. Used to date Dionne Warwick.
You got it. You got it. I told you would get it.
Used to date Dionne Warwick.
Sparkle.
Michael. Whatever happened to him?
Well,
on Miami Vice.
He's probably figuring out ways to take care of those kids. He got 13 kids. And
When he first hit the scene, all the women thought he was just as handsome as I don't know
exactly.
what.
And of course, he was in the original film version of Sparkle, so he has that
That's
Sparkle
what I'm
connection.
saying. That's what most people recognize, because Miami Vice came after that.
But that was exactly. That was Philip Michael Thomas's daughter, Imaj. And once again, I was told that she's a name to look out for in the country and western world, and
Really?
very much a black girl. She's got the sound that is current today in
Beautiful
country
sound.
and western. A
Beautiful
beautiful
sound.
sound. But once again, a name that you don't hear that much about, or that we should know in Detroit, because we like to know what's happening, especially with people of color. And she's somebody that's doing it. She's living in Dallas, Texas, and she said that I am a country and western singer, and she sings in the cowboy boots, and she has the feel and the poise of any country and western groomed artist. And she said that, it's interesting, as a black performer, that tends to be the bigger concern. But she said, my heart is country and western. I love the lyrics. I love the story that it tells. She's 22 years old. She said that I was raised on the music. I love it. And she's doing it. And obviously she's got a fan base, because when I got the call concerning Imaj, I was told that she had sold out that particular, and was at the Black Academy of Arts and Music in Dallas. But the audience was potentially white. And I think, is there a reason why we as African Americans don't embrace country and western music when it comes from roots that we can relate to?
You know what? It's an interesting thing. If you take the time to, let's just say you don't like country. Pick a song. You decide you're going to listen to the song. The stories that are told in country and western music are life stories. They are human stories. And, if you take time and listen, you'll find yourself a little bit fond of some of it. You really will. We'll be back.
He colors me the perfect shade.